As you know, last year the ŠKODA auto car maker celebrated 125 years since its establishment. Two men, both named Václav Laurin, a technician, and Václav Klement, a bookseller and a manager, started the company together. They had started repairing and manufacturing bicycles by Christmas 1895. They gave their products as well as their factory the patriotic name Slavia. 3 years later, they went to France, specifically to Paris, where they were fascinated by the Warner Brother motorcycle. They decided to improve upon the idea, and they came up with their own design, placing the engine in the middle of the frame and the controls within reach of the handlebar. All the world's newspapers later called it the basis of all future motorcycles. The company offered single-cylinder, two-cylinder, and several four-cylinder engines. Amidst their catalog, as with their bicycles, they offered machines for heavier riders, for poor roads, for sport purposes, and also sidecars and three-wheelers. The three-wheelers from Laurin and Klement were available in various designs, for passenger transport, for craftsmen, for bakers, and for mail transport. With the postal design, they reached as far as Mexico. They were produced in cooperation with other companies, as in this case, the František Pouska firm. At the turn of the century, Laurin and Klement tried their way in two tracks. It was a preparatory research journey to the future Voiturette A car, the first real car made in the autumn of 1905. It was a car with a 1-liter engine and an output of 7 horsepower, which may seem relatively little today, but it was able to cross the Italian Alps, for example. The final design put the gear change and brake lever next to the driver and the gas control on the steering wheel. The chassis was a steel frame, a so-called ladder frame. On the chassis, there was a wooden body covered with sheet metal and veneer, or, as in this case, with leatherette. The space for the driver was usually leather, because the driver could be dirty. It could rain inside, and leather was easier to clean. On the other hand, the space for the passengers, a lawyer, a doctor, or a factory owner, was upholstered in luxury plush fabric. In this design, cars were exported all over the world, to locations such as South America, New Zealand, and Japan before the First World War. The First World War, and especially its end, posed a big problem for Laurin and Klement. The production machines were worn out as a consequence of producing other things for the war. There was a lack of money for modernization, and at the same time, all the traditional markets were collapsing. Therefore, Václav Klement had to look for a strategic partner who would bring the necessary funds for modernization. He found one in the summer of 1925, and since then, the company has been known as ŠKODA, based in Mladá Boleslav, and features a winged arrow as its emblem.